So, hi, I'm here with Coach AJ Miller from Coral Springs Charter, and this is his story. So, when did you start coaching football?
I started coaching football in 2021, right after I'd finished playing football in college. I moved down to Florida and started coaching at my alma mater here at Coral Springs Charter School. And it's been just finished up season number 3 coaching.
Nice. And where did you go to college?
Baldwin Wallace University. It's a small Division III school in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So, when did you become a Christian?
I became a Christian at the age of 13. I grew up in the church and knew a lot about God. But at the age of 13, when I was in a youth group at a local church that I was going to at the time, and youth pastor led us sort of salvation prayer. And that was when I finally not only knew about God, but finally knew God on a personal level and understood that Christ was his son. And I accepted him. And obviously it's a sanctification process from there over the past 12 years or so.
Okay. So, how long have you coached at Coral Springs Charter?
Yeah. So I just finished up a 3rd year.
Oh, nice.
At Coral Springs Charter, and I coordinate the offense. So I like to say the coordinator provides harmony of all the assistant coaches and the players.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my role as an assistant coach here.
Nice. So, what's your favorite verse and why?
This changes from season to season. Right now, I think my favorite verse is Matthew 6:33, which is seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then all things will be added to you. And I've discovered that seeking first the kingdom of God and his grace and spending time with him is the start of a relationship with him, and all things will be added to you after that. And I think a lot of us like to focus on the part that, all things will be added to you without
seeking first. Yeah.
And so, like I said, there's so many verses and so many passages and books of the Bible.
My favorite is Romans 8:28.
Yes.
And for God works all things together for good.
Absolutely.
For those who love him.
Yeah.
And it's funny enough, I was driving here.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of weird with numbers. Right. But I saw a 28. And that kind of speaks to me, and it's okay, God's going to work it out.
Yes.
Amen. So it's just kind of a reminder. And so it's kind of a different thing, but.
Right. And that was actually mentioned at our huddle last week by one of the teachers that was here. When a kid asked, what does everything happen for a reason?
Oh, yeah.
He used that verse as the truth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's a great verse.
It is.
So, do you have a role model? Who do you look up to? Do you have someone you look up to? And
absolutely.
Why do you look up to them?
Absolutely. I say 2 or 3 people come to my mind as role models. One is my brother. He was my high school football coach.
Oh, wow.
And played in college. He coached in college, and now he's up in Georgia coaching. He'd be a role model for me as just one of my best friends growing up, and just really someone that I always wanted to be and be around as a kid. The second would be my defensive coordinator in high school. His name's Matt Garris.
Okay.
Funny enough, he coaches also in Georgia in high school.
Okay.
And he was sort of a spiritual mentor for me in high school.
Okay.
He led FCA when I was in high school.
Okay.
So that's a guy I still contact with, life issues and needing counsel and whatnot. And the third would just be my dad, who was, sort of the spiritual leader of my family growing up. Who led me to Christ.
Nice. So you grew up in a Christian family?
I did.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was.
Yeah, I actually grew up in a Christian home too.
Okay.
So I feel like it's a good thing to have that, because a lot of people don't have that.
Right.
So when they become Christians, they don't have that support.
No doubt.
So it's kind of interesting, because it's it's something you can't take for granted.
Right.
Because it's pretty much you have that support, you have that backing up, and they want you to succeed as a Christian.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think I can work through both situations.
Right.
I grew up in a Christian family. My wife did not. we bring both of those backgrounds into now our family as we raise our kids.
Okay.
Know the Lord Jesus. But I think both are cool because there's some things maybe I was quote unquote sheltered from as a kid. And there are some things that my wife experienced or saw, especially positively speaking, like she never saw people as different than her. Everybody was kind of the same. Whereas as a Christian, you often categorize people in terms of believers and non-believers, and that can lead to its unintended consequences of judgment and whatnot. So I think God works through both sort of backgrounds to serve Him, which is something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and it's and the cool thing is too is like you could become a Christian and then witness to your family,
no doubt.
And I've heard people like my friend Dylan from my church, he got saved, and then his family got saved. Like it was like a chain reaction.
Right.
So it was kind of like interesting because it's like you could be like, okay, you could be in a Christian family, become a Christian, or you could be in a non-Christian family, become a Christian, and then they can convert them to Christianity.
It reminds me of the in the Book of Acts when Paul's in jail in I think Philippi, and God kind of frees him from the prison and breaks open
when they're worshiping
and singing.
Yeah,
they stay worshiping God even though they could run free and save their own lives. And I think the almost the prison leader or ward
was going to kill himself,
right? But then he ended up giving his life to Christ and being baptized. It's not just him, but it's his whole family. So you see, like you just said, you see the domino effect of one person and the rest of their family.
And it's like God can use anybody, which He has showed me. Because like I never thought I was going to be an FCA.
Right.
I always wanted to be in the sports industry. I always wanted to be, like in the spotlight, like ESPN,
no doubt.
Fox Sports. I actually interned there at Fox Sports and ESPN West Palm.
Cool.
And God didn't let me do that. And I'm kind of thankful because like it's a very worldly atmosphere and it's a very cutthroat. And FCA is cool because it's like a family. And it's like we're all cheering for each other, like when someone wins a contest, we're not like, oh, we're like, congratulations, you won.
Right.
Like when someone does something good. And then it's like, and it's just really cool because it's like God just brings these people together. And it's like, I love my FCA family and I love working for FCA and I want to be full-time, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a really cool thing.
Right.
But
I love FCA as well.
So what do you like most about coaching and why?
Great question. Like that's different. I just love the spirit of the kids and the just fun that I have being around teenagers every day. How it's always something new. It's always a new slang term they've got going on, or a new game, or a new way to make fun of their friends. And it's just, they keep me young and they entertain me every day. And I think that's probably my favorite part.
Yeah.
It is nothing like being, a 9-to-5 in the office. With, other adults just looking forward to the weekend. It's nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's one of the best jobs in the world because you get to hang out with the next generation every day.
Yeah. And I see that you definitely make an impact, because I saw at the FCA launch, you seemed like you were very like they respected you. Like I felt like,
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I felt like, like when you said, do you have any questions about God or anything? You're like, come to me. And I think that's huge because like a coach can reach like so many players. Like they say, coaches have more influences on players than sometimes their own family.
Yes.
Right. So like you as a coach being a Christian, I feel like that's huge because like if it's not, like what I'm trying to say, it's really I just think it's really important
Mhm.
to be a Christian coach
Right.
because because like you're influencing a whole like generation.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And that's, I coach the quarterbacks here as well as the offensive coordinator. And I have a coaching standard for myself that I share with the kids. And the first one is just like what you just said. I promise to coach their heart and not just their football talent. And I think that's the best coaches are coaching hearts more than talent and physical abilities.
I'm sure you're familiar with Dabo Sweeney.
For sure.
He's a very like Christian, godly coach.
Yes.
And he's very like, it's cool because they're one of my favorite teams, Clemson. And a big reason is Dabo Sweeney because he's all about coaching the player, like, but he's also big on their character.
Of course.
And he's a Christian.
Yes.
And he's won a couple national championships.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to see it's obviously important for you, for your stage too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're not on the national level,
Of course.
but you're still like making an impact.
For sure.
Yeah.
Coaches, we steal from each other. Nothing we say is really original. So I steal all the time from Dabo Sweeney.
Oh, really?
Whether it be a message for the kids or some sort of conversation to have with somebody. But yeah, I steal all of his stuff. He's definitely a role model in the coaching.
Yeah. And we can see the negative side of having coaches that aren't Christian. Like, for example, where they're maybe too much about winning.
No doubt.
Like, I feel like maybe like Nick Saban,
Right.
like maybe like a Nick Saban kind of thing, where it's like they're all about winning and they're not really about building the coach, building the character, or they're just like I'm a Gators fan and we've had a couple hothead coaches, and it's like, is that really what we want? Like, do we want a coach that's just very, just very gets upset all the time? And yeah, so
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so I'll ask you this question:
Mhm.
What would you do if you couldn't coach, and why?
Man. Well, growing up, my dream job was a stay-at-home dad.
Oh, really?
Now, knowing what I know and how hard I know my wife works at home all day to stay at home mom, would I want to take on that job? Would I want to take on stay-at-home dad? I absolutely would. But now I've got to see how difficult. It's not just you get to hang out at home all day. Like you're working 24-hour shifts.
Right.
So, but I think I would still like to do that. I think it'd be cool to be with my kids all day instead of, not seeing them very much.
Yeah.
But other than that, something in the business world, I'd imagine. I got my MBA in college.
Okay.
So something in the business world, maybe, and sort of customer service or
Nice.
marketing or something to that edge. I don't know. I'll probably just try to see where I landed in the business world.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For me, I'd never considered coaching, but I feel like FCA is a good, maybe like a good, like something that I can do where it's like I'm combining sports and faith.
For sure.
And it's like, it's a really cool thing because like I love sports and I have a strong faith.
Yep.
And it's like, they just kind of combine together, and it's like, it's a really cool thing.
I agree. Completely.
And it's something I probably honestly want to do it the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Because it's like, I just see the impact and the baptisms, the salvations, the people coming to Christ. Like, it's just kind of like, it's just kind of an amazing thing.
I agree.
To like come to be a part of.
Yep.
So,
and I think kind of what you're getting at is like the sports, and specifically football from my experience, has a way of breaking down people's walls, and you build trust with your teammates or maybe with your coworkers in the FCA sense or coaching sense. And there's something about the football and sports world that the rest of the world's missing. And I think a lot of it's like the shared misery of workouts and it's camaraderie, just working toward a very clear goal. And part of that, I think, you build the trust with your teammates, mainly like in the locker room and at meals and whatnot. And what's like paradoxical about trust is like, in order to gain trust, you have to first get vulnerable. It's almost counterintuitive, especially the guys, to get vulnerable with each other.
Yeah.
But just the hours we put in together and the activities that we go through together really builds vulnerability. Once you get vulnerable, then you build the trust with your teammates. And then after you build that trust, there's no telling what can be accomplished for Christ, for a program, for a school, for a team, whatever the case may be.
Nice. I might have asked you this, but what do you love most about coaching?
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, just the fact that the kids are always entertaining me and doing something.
Okay.
Makes me laugh.
Okay. What's one thing you would say to a Christian coach to encourage them if they're going through a difficult time?
So I'll give one example, like from this past year. It was a rough year on the field. I think we started off 0-3 and ended up finishing 4-6, but just it was a lot of bumps along the road. And an encouragement I might have for coaches that I found this year was find other ways to win besides just on the scoreboard. So what that might look like is a win for me today is I am going to talk to God about talk about God to one of our running backs. Like today, I'm just going to focus on our running back position. Yeah. Just strike up a conversation with one of them about God, about their spiritual background, about who they think Jesus is, about struggles in their life and what their purpose might be. And that can be my win today. If I do that, then I won today. Regardless of how poor the on-field performance may look, if I can do that, I will win as a coach. And getting back to being ultra focused on winning. If you're ultra focused on winning, you're bound to fail and you're bound to be miserable. You got to find other ways to win besides just on the scoreboard.
Well, I think what you said about Matthew 6:33, like seek first the kingdom of God and all these things. So instead of because I feel like a lot of players and coaches find their meaning in winning and winning football games. Because I used to be really bad with watching sports because I would get really mad, if my team lost. But now that I'm not, I'm okay either way now.
Yes.
Where it's it's just a game, I don't get near as frustrated as I used to.
Yes.
But I think that's all the mentality.
Yes.
Because it's just, and if you're focused on Jesus, like you said, he will add everything to you. So it's it's just, if we're focused on the other things, then it's those things will come up short.
Right.
So
for sure. There's so much good stuff in what you said. And I think one of them is, if God doesn't give you maybe what you want, quote unquote, that he loves you so much that he has something so much better for you on the other end. I don't know what that looks like, but that's kind of those and everything else will be added to you part of the verse. That he loves me too much to let us, go undefeated this year, or whatever it is. That's a silly example, but whatever it is in life. And the second thing that I think is, and I experienced this personally when my son was in the NICU when he was first born, was this struggle, Christ has counted me worthy to go through this and worthy to endure this hardship. And he's counted me so worthy that I get to know him so much deeper through this that I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't want it perfect and smooth and easy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, we can find, if nothing else is going, if we're not victorious at anything else in life, we know that we have victory over death. Because of Jesus going down into the grave for us and coming out victoriously, so we can proclaim that as our big victory in life.
So as a coach, how do you hope FCA will impact your students? And then did you ever do FCA when you were growing up?
Two great questions there. So first question, how do I hope it impacts our students? My hope is that our huddle that we just started last week with 24 students who showed up and our continuous huddles, I hope that transforms this school first and foremost. So Coral Springs Charter School, I pray would be transformed by the gospel of Christ. Very similar to how cities that Paul visited were just transformed by the gospel and changed forever. And now I'm sure you and I can trace our faith back to something that a church that Paul shared with, in the Gentile nations.
Right.
And then kind of practically speaking, I hope that this would lead to smaller huddles within sports teams at our school.
Nice.
So my prayer is that maybe a soccer player steps forward and says, I want to lead a huddle within the soccer team. And a football player wants to lead a huddle within the football team. So then that kind of blossoms into individual huddles on the sports teams. That's one way. I also pray for partnerships with local churches where we can hopefully send kids to churches, maybe the youth groups, or maybe they're having an event that they can attend. Also bring pastors in and have them share the gospel with our kids and just be another voice in their lives of sharing the word. And then your second question about what was my experience with FCA. So my first experience with FCA was in high school at our FCA huddles.
Okay.
So we would meet in the mornings before school, and I can remember doing Bible studies and doing devotionals and watching videos of NFL guys talking about their faith. And that one of the role models I mentioned, Coach Garris, he was the leader of those huddles.
Okay.
And then in college, actually, when I first got there, we did not have any FCA.
Okay.
But a year or two into my career there, our assistant AD approached me about starting up FCA.
Here
at school in Ohio.
Okay.
At the school that I went to. And so it took about a semester of legwork trying to get everything situated, but then we finally did start FCA at our school. And we started with like 40, and for a few years I led it as a student leader. And obviously once I graduated, I passed it off to the next person. But it was kind of cool to see some of the seeds we planted back in, I think 2018 was when we started it. Cool to see, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago, I got a text of a picture from their FCA huddle that night, and there was 150 kids attending from the school. So again, you see that the seeds that we planted, God watered, God pruned, and God turned into even more fruit.
Right. Yeah.
Which was really cool to see.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I have.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say, to end or?
Yeah, I think that what I communicated at the first kickoff huddle with our players and our student athletes was that really try not to focus on all of the rules that one might understand from the Bible in terms of what can I do, what can I not do?
Right.
What rules can I follow? What laws does God want me to do so that I can earn his trust, his love? I would say do not, obsess over those things. And I would say start with the grace of God, that he has counted you worthy as a child of God to receive the grace from Jesus that he has given to you on the cross, and focus on pursuing that and the free gift that is. And from there, I would say that your heart would be transformed. It's almost like, water entering into a soil and how it kind of seeps into the soil and then grows plants. Like that's how I want the grace of Christ to seep into the hearts of our student athletes. And all those good things that come from that will just be a byproduct of his grace.
And then one last thing I was going to say, we're having the Orange Bowl prayer breakfast.
Yep.
And you and your student athletes are invited.
Perfect.
And that is December 28th. And that's on Thursday. And then 7:15 a.m. is the reception, and 8 a.m. is the program. So, if you want, you can give me your email and I can email you the information.
Yeah.
And all the information.
Perfect.
And you guys are more than welcome to come.
Yes.
So
I'll definitely be there. I was already planning on being there, and I think our head coach joined me, and then
okay,
I'll definitely bring some of our guys.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to put it out there and
Yeah,
make sure you were aware.
absolutely.
Yeah.